Arborist in session here on Six Music with One Morning Mid-November. Another couple of tunes to come from this session. I should point out there, Mark and everybody else, that not only on bass on that one, but I'm not saying it's a comparison to Adam Clayton. I don't do many backing vocals, but Nick on the BVs, the joint BVs there. Very good indeed, don't you think?
Wonderful stuff, mate. Brought a tear to my eye. So Mark, I've read various things about you over the last couple of hours, and one of them, it described your music as dark and crushing. So when you set out to make music in the first place, did you think, right, what kind of oeuvre do I want to push myself towards? Dark and crushing, that's what I think I'll do.
Yeah, I think that's a nice blend. There was someone else described it as devastatingly bleak and upliftingly beautiful, and I thought that was a reasonable combination as well.
Take them, yeah, definitely. So did you go through a phase of being in a young punk band with Wild Abandon, or did you go straight into the gentler side of it all?
A little. I think my first band, when I was about 16, we just did Pixies covers back then, so that was it, so there was a wee bit of I guess it's the accessibility of such things, a nice plotting bass line and all the rest of it. But then, yes, I guess. But there's beauty in that as well. There were lots of beautiful melodies and all the rest of it. So I guess that was always there.
Of course, and you ended up working with Kim Deal.
Yeah, of course, yeah, which is a bit of a mad thing altogether, but lovely.
In terms of finding the Arborist sound, I was listening to A Man of a Certain Age earlier today, which is from 2016. Do you listen to that stuff from that LP much? And do you chart sort of a course from there to where you are now?
I wouldn't say I listened to it again, but I guess we play a few of those songs live, such as that, So, and I guess you can hear with the live band that kind of transition. As they kind of breathe new life into the old songs, which is a nice thing. I never think going back to it I never find it very pleasurable, that's for sure anyway, but listening to old stuff.
You're going to play Taxi as one of the next two tunes, and I just wonder, I'm not asking you to do this at all now, but when you play that, do you ever set it up as a story? Because obviously it's a story within that song. Do you give it any preamble at all?
Not really. I guess the only, when I'm playing it live, the only context that I would give to it is that, although it is a story about one particular individual, but I always find it's kind of a tale of so many within the music industry, that get washed up along the way, and that's certainly what my intention was with telling that story. My dad always chatted about him, so. Yeah, so that was. I guess I could see certain, not necessarily parallels, but I could see certain warning signs when you're involved in music.
It's to do with having one particular idea. This same thing happens in radio, Mark, where you've got a particularly good idea, and you never really get round to delivering on it, and then somebody else has it.
Well, it happens to me all the time, mate. I tell you, we went to see Neil Young doing that Greendale album. I don't know if you know it, but it tells the story of a Vietnam vet, and he has a tough time when he comes back. And Neil Young insisted. So it was very episodic. Each song had a little story in it, and before each song, he told you what the story was. So he went through the whole thing. So he's driving down the highway, and he gets pulled over by the cop, and the cop looks in the glove compartment, finds a gun, but then he starts the song. He's driving down the road, the cop pulls him over. He's like, bloody hell, Neil. So some things are better left unsaid. You don't want to spoil it,
yeah, that's for sure.
You know Neil Young's doing the Christmas Jackanory this year.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. No, he's not yet, but it'd be a very good booking.
Yeah. Mate, yes, absolutely. So have you studied musical arrangement? Because there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, though, all kind of done on the hoof. But I just like to bring this personnel in to add a sheen of professionalism around.
It works.
Yeah.
Now, we need to talk you to the piano, Mark, because you can play two tunes, and the first of the one will take you to the piano, and then there's going to be a move back for the second one, but you don't need to worry about that. It'll happen without anybody noticing from wherever you may be listening. So there are two tunes to come, and Mark is now amazingly in position, having made the walk across the studio. And do you want to say anything about the first of these numbers, Mark?
Sure, yeah. This is called Alabaster Skin. It's the last track of the new record. I guess what it's sort of talking about loosely I guess a lot of the songs are never quite directly about one particular thing, but it certainly touches on. It was written in the kind of the midst of some riots in Belfast, whatever year it was, pick a year, just that there is a new kind of younger generation coming through back in the North of Ireland who are not interested, and despite the goading and despite the rhetoric that I think most people hear on the radio, just a generation who are not interested in that and are interested in progress and interested in moving on. So it's kind of about that.
Let's hear it then. This is Arborist in session on Six Music.